That's right.
Here we are.
Hello, everybody. I am Bart Robley. Welcome to the Drummers Education Connection. I am here with three of the greatest drummers on the face of the planet. Over here,
Wait, where?
where they're over in the living room right now. They're going to come in and say hi.
He said face of the planet.
Face of the planet, planet of the face. I told you I'm not scared of anything. I'm making a fool of myself in front of everybody in the world. Jeremy Steinkohler is above me. He is in the Bay Area. We got Rick Stojak, who is down in the San Diego area, and the one and only, the man himself, Chip Ritter, out in Tucson with the 6 guns loaded and ready to rock. He's a cold-blooded killer, Mr. Ritter is. Anyway, we're here on the Drummers Education Connection, and today we are talking about drum camps and drum recitals and group drumming and stuff like that. And you know, we got the great Jeremy Steinkohler. He works at he owns a company called Bandworks, and he has so many great things to share with us, insight on drum camps and things like that. So we're going to kick it up to him, and he just got back from one. Jeremy, you just got back from a drum camp, correct?
I did. It wasn't a drum camp specifically. I for the last 20, what year is it now? 2021. For the last 26 years, I've been teaching at this performing arts camp. It's a family camp up in Sonoma County in California, and families go and they participate in all these different music and performing arts classes, and there's concerts and performances. And I teach a giant, like 25-piece Motown band up there with a horn section and 6 singers and like 4 or 5 guitar players. And I teach a rock band also, the same size, so a rock band, a Motown band. I teach a drum set class, and sometimes I teach the Irish drum, the Bowron class up there.
Yeah, man.
I've been going since I was 26. I met my wife up there.
Oh, wow.
My kid's been going since he was born. And that place has just been a bedrock for me through my adult life of community and music and connections, musicians that I've played with and have become part of the groups that I play in. It's been one of the best experiences of my life going there. So we go every year. We don't miss it.
Jeremy, so you can find love through music camp?
Oh man, I can't express to you how absolutely profoundly music camp, man. For those of you who've never been to a music camp, it's amazing. I mean, this one in particular, Cazadero Performing Arts Family Camp, it's nestled in this redwood grove up in Northern California, so it's gorgeous. You know, you look up, the trees are 120 feet tall, and they got this giant outdoor amphitheater. And you know, all these different class spaces around the camp, and they hire a chef who cooks the food, and you know, you stay in these tent cabins and you're just doing music all the time, you know, all day, every day for a week. There's other ones out here too in the Bay Area. There's a thing called Jazz Camp West, where they have really heavy hitters, a lot of it's all, you know, jazz programming. There's another one called Jam Camp, which is for younger kids. My son has gone to that. My son just completed a music camp for a week out in Lafayette called the Lafayette Jazz Camp, that's run by a local middle school music teacher. And man, that was like the who's who. They bring in musicians from all over the country to teach that thing, like really heavy jazz cats. So it's awesome. Music camp is the best thing. And if you guys will indulge me, I've got a ton of cool videos from this past week.
Please do. Please do, yes.
And then we can talk about Bandworks too, which is the program that I run that's year round, and we also do summer camps. But let's see what I can do here.
So this the video you're going to share now is from this camp last week. And I'm sorry, what was the name of that again? Can you tell
this is called Cazadero Performing Arts Camp. Hold on one second. Let me see what I got here.
That's fantastic. I've been up there to the Redwoods, you know, and it's so beautiful. You know, it's so beautiful up there. I can imagine being in a
is that where the trees, you can drive through the trees?
It's near there, but it's not that exactly.
What's the name of that tree where you drive through it?
Well, I think is that a sequoia? It's a sequoia or a redwood.
It's a redwood.
Big tree.
Yeah, a big ass tree, I think it's called.
Hey guys, Tammy Michelle Woods is here watching.
Hey, Tammy.
So is Steven Gutierrez.
All right. Steve is one of my longtime students. That guy's a great drummer.
Can you guys see that?
I can
Yeah.
see it. Here we go.
All right, so,
Wow.
so this is actually from a couple years ago, from the one before COVID, when I was teaching a drum set class, and I had 10 people in this class who had never played the drums before, and I taught them for 4 hours or 5 hours during the week, one class per day, while they're taking all these other classes. And then at the end, I had a little kind of recital where I had the staff, guitar teacher, bass teacher, and keyboard player play along with them, so they could sort of have the feeling of playing with a pro band for just 2 minutes for their recital. So this is a part of that. Can you guys hear it okay?
Yeah.
Whoa!
There we go.
Yeah.
Right? Little transition to the shuffle.
Yeah. That's not easy to pull off, man.
Yeah, this was the star pupil of the week. I think we slowed it down for like a 12/8 feel. Yeah.
A little bit. Man.
Nice.
Anyway, you get the picture there. So that was like,
Man.
know,
Way to go.
oh, thanks,
man.
dudes. Thanks. Yeah. So, each student would get to do that for like a minute and a half, and that was their little performance. But then
Transitions like that are
Yeah.
hard.
yeah, for sure. Let's see. I got this was
Hold my
from
hand up real quick.
Oh,
This is-
Chip.
I want to interject something real quick.
go for it.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to David Betts from the UK who's watching.
Hey, Dave.
Thank you, David. And also had a question for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Did you teach? You're teaching the drummer.
Right.
Who's teaching the other members?
Those other members were staff. They were teachers themselves that were doing the.
Okay, I get
They were,
it.
they were like the crack pro band that was, helping out my students
okay.
and what a cool experience for the students, not just learning some beats, but like even for a couple of minutes being able to play with
Getting
these
to play from
professional
the pros.
musicians.
Yeah, with the pros from Dover.
Right.
Nice.
So Jeremy,
well
even when
done.
you're working with like the big Motown band,
Yeah.
is that you're just focused on the drummer, or are
No.
you conducting?
So
Now, that's
oh.
a different thing.
no, this is totally different. So
Yeah.
for the Motown band, which I'll play a clip of in a minute, or it's really not just Motown, it's Motown and soul music.
Okay.
I'm teaching the whole band. So I play guitar. I don't know if you guys know this, but I play some guitar. I can play a little bit of bass, a little bit of keyboards, and I know enough about. I don't play the horns, but I know how to arrange for the horns a little bit, and I know what. I help them with articulation and phrasing and intonation and stuff. So I'm kind of like,
On the dark side.
What's that? On the dark side. Yeah, I'm kind of juggling, multiple balls at once. So like the band, I don't work with the singers as much. We have a guy who's a vocalist who takes the singers in the back and works out the harmony parts with them, just because it's just too much to do that all at once. So
Right.
I pretty much, handle the rhythm section and the horns. And sometimes I'll say, okay, rhythm section, let me hear just your bass and drums. Let's work on that. Let's tighten up the groove. Oh, you're rushing this, whatever. Guitar players, I'll show them, chord voicings or strumming patterns, and then try to get the horns a little tighter. But let me play you guys a clip of this. And remember,
Jeremy, wait a second. One of the things about the singers that I recommend you teach them is how to move drum gear.
Hey, I second that opinion. I second that. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
You guys know that's a losing battle, right?
If you can teach a singer two things: how to pick up and help anybody with their gear, number one, or how to never pick up a tambourine.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Number
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
never pick up a tambourine.
I think I think for the performance, this is like a rehearsal that I filmed that you're going to see a clip of, but I play the tambourine. just to.
Well, you're
yeah.
a drummer, so that's
Oh, yeah.
okay if you play the
No,
tambourine.
I know, but my point is like I wouldn't let anybody else play the tambourine because
Yeah.
it's so critical. You know, you could have this great band that's super tight and working on all these different levels, and then someone comes in with a tambourine and it just craps all over the whole thing.
Oh, dude, you can have the greatest
cowbell.
band. Yeah, you can have the cowbell too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
you can
that's
have the greatest
lethal.
band in the world, and somebody's got a cowbell or a tambourine, and they're just beating that thing.
It's lethal.
It's like-
Those things are lethal. That's like a
Oh.
poison in the, you know. Yeah. All right. You guys are killing me today.
Time.
No cowbell for the singer.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. Is it working?
There's no video.
Hold on.
We got sound, but no video.
I love this music, man. I love having music on our show.
Nice.
Nice. There we go.
You got the horns there.
Man, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, look behind them.
Look at the redwoods, right?
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's my son, Evan.
Nice, Evan. Go, Evan.
On the-
Yeah.
Go back to the top. There you go.
All right. Nice.
4 bass players.
It's like Spinal Tap.
Yep.
All about the baby.
Man, she's got a set of pipes, doesn't she?
Somebody's people
great.
can do the thing. Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Hey, Jeremy.
fantastic.
Fantastic, man.
Hey, you want to know something? I don't know how to get involved with this, but I'm going to go ahead and commit now. I'm going to take. My wife would love to go to that. She loves that. We're going next year. I'm
Oh
gonna
man,
take her.
you guys, I would love for
dude.
you to come up.
I've got to get involved with that, and Leah would love going up
It's
there
so
to the
fun.
Redwoods.
It's
We're
so
we're
fun.
in. We're
And it's
in.
not just, you don't have to play in it for that particular camp. There's like art classes and clowning and circus for the kids and, all sorts of other stuff too. So it's not just about musicians. Yeah, Chip.
I just got a quick question about the bass player. He one of the bass players leaned over, and right before the break, you could see him do a cue. He comes over and he's like going to cue the drummer. Is that a teacher?
No,
Hmm.
no, I was the only teacher there.
Cool.
But he was giving a cue to the drummer. Did they learn that?
Yeah, I talked to them. I was like, you guys got to communicate. There's got to be some, you don't just look at me for things, rhythm
Well, that's
section.
my
You got to work
question.
together.
'Cause when I watch the video, I'm wondering who is a teacher and who is a student.
I was the only teacher, and I was walking around my phone taking that video.
That's
Man,
awesome.
that
Awesome.
speaks volumes because that was a great band. They sounded great. Were you teaching the horns too? Did you work
Yeah,
with the horn players?
I
Man,
did.
that was great, man. That band was tight, and you had how many? There was 2 drummers there, or was there
Yeah.
3? Okay.
There was 2 at a time.
So the fact that 2 drummers could lock in like that, and you had 3 bass players and the horn section and all those singers, dude, that speaks volumes for your teaching ability. That's outstanding.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. I do emphasize with them. I was like, look, I tell them at the outset, with a band this big, you can't just be playing whatever you feel like. You've got to have parts that are very carefully crafted, that are fitting together in specific ways, just like those big Motown bands did. All the parts were really carefully crafted, and there's no extra notes going on.
Right.
Thanks, though.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
I talked to Rick about this when you're dealing with younger students, and I think although it would be a great topic for a whole show, I don't want to take up too much time. But can you tell me very briefly a little bit about how do you build confidence for a student who's terrified to do the live show? Like, do you have a pat set of lessons you go through or things that you give them so they don't feel so nervous and freaked out playing in front of a big crowd for the first time?
You talking about at the camp?
At the camp.
Yeah. There are some people that take a class and they're just absolutely petrified of performing. And, you know, they're performing for like the most supportive community. It's all friends and family, right? But even so, like, oh, then no way am I getting up on stage to do that.
Stage fright.
Yeah. And I try to encourage them to do it, but I don't force them, you know, because like this just supposed to be camp. It's supposed to be a fun and relaxing week. And they're challenging themselves, you know, on not just my class, but maybe 4 or 5 different classes they're taking all week. Right. And who knows what else they've got going on at home. So I say, look, you know, you don't have to do this. This is supposed to be fun. But if you think you might want to do this, let's do it. You know, I will be there standing next to you. I'll be clapping and I'll be counting and I'll be helping you if you get lost. And you know what? No one's going to care. This is all about just being a beginner again and putting yourself in that position where you're learning and it's exciting and you're showing what you've learned in 5 hours. And you know, most of the time what these people can do in 5 hours is pretty amazing. So yeah. You know, I tell them that it's like, look, you know, this is all about love and support and having a good experience. And I think if you do perform, you'll feel good about it after you're done. You'll enjoy that you did it. So
that's great advice, because I think there's that that point where, you know, a student, you know, I want to learn a part, I want to learn an instrument. Okay, now I've learned a part,
right?
But I'm afraid to go play it in front of people. Mm-hmm. But if you take like those little baby steps and, okay, well, we're just going to play, you know, 2 minutes worth of music or a minute's worth of music, and you're just going to hold down this groove. I think it is kind of those baby steps into the pool. And it's like a roller coaster. You know, at first you're going up that hill and you're scared to death. And as soon as the ride's over, you're like, okay, when does it, I just want to get back on.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so, you know, for my Irish drum class that I've taught the Bauer there, sometimes what we'll do is instead of performing on stage for the big performance, we'll go to the little childcare area and we'll perform for the little kids, you know, so and the little kids, they love it. They're like, oh, cool, music and musicians. And for the people in the class, it's like, this is the most low pressure audience you could possibly play for, a bunch of 4-year-olds. You know?
Right, exactly.
You guys up for 1 or 2 more of those?
Oh yeah,
keep them flowing.
Let them rip. This is great.
All right, one more. Hold on. Let's see.
Hey Rick, did you see my drum chucks?
So this is
oh, nice.
Still no video, just sound.
This is the Bauer class. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Hand drum.
Yeah. That's my wife playing the penny whistle.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Hey, Jeremy, one day can you give us a lesson on the show on that?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would love that. That'd be super fun.
Was that, a cardboard box?
Yeah. We didn't have enough drums, so some people were just using pieces of cardboard. Hey.
That was still working, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah. One guy was playing a pizza box last week. That was really cool.
You know, I've had drum kits that were backlined to me, and I wish there would have been boxes instead of the drums they gave me.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, you know what? That kind of is an inspiring thing, because the studio, I have a studio at a music store in downtown Fullerton, Moe's Fullerton Music, and they sell a lot of, you know, world drums and stuff from around the world. So that's inspiration to get one of those and learn how to play it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey Bart, do they repair hand drums? I get a call every other day from somebody who repairs hand drums.
They do, and as a matter of fact, that one of the specialties there is that there's a guy that works there that knows how to do calfskin heads on banjos, which is in and of itself is a specialty thing. And I've seen him stretch a couple of calfskin heads for drums. So I'll get you the information.
Called again?
Moe's Fullerton Music.
Hey, do you know how to tell if a banjo's in tune?
I don't.
It's by the sound it makes when it hits the bottom of the dumpster.
What do you call a
Oh,
trombone? What do you call a trombone player with a business card?
An optimist.
An optimist. Sorry, we could go on all
Oh,
day.
man, here we
Come on.
go. I got it.
Here we go. Now,
oh man.
we could do a whole deck show on drummer
Jokes.
Come on.
Oh,
let's
that's really
face it.
good. I like it. I'm all in. I got some good ones. Here, last one from the camp from last week.
Okay, cool.
This is the rock band.
Oh, cool. Man.
The chemical, physical, kryptonite. Help is the face and the faded light. Oh, we were bound to get together, bound to get together. Shoot your fire. I don't know how it happens.
Yeah.
You guys got to wait for this one drum fill coming up, and then I'll turn it off.
Okay.
Here it is.
Yeah.
All right.
I did. Why'd you turn it off? That was shut up and dance with
That's
me.
great.
Yeah, man.
You know, and I think that's what
Dance with me.
that's what it's all about, right? I mean, building a community, building that's kind of what this whole thing that we're doing is about. And that right there is a perfect shining example of great work, man. That's
Thanks,
great.
man. You're absolutely right. It is all about building community. And that's, I think a lot of drummers especially, but not just drummers, really all musicians, right? We go along, we practice, and we spend so much of our time practicing in our studio or in our closet or our bedroom. And if we're lucky, if we're fortunate, we get to play with other people. And then we establish a small little community with, our friend who plays guitar. We jam together sometimes. Or maybe it's a band. And finally I got a band together, and there's a little community around that, and shows, and people come out to support. And then, there's bigger communities that you can be a part of with the music. And that's part of what we're trying to do with the Drummers Education Connection, is spread, this brotherhood of the drumming and sisterhood of drumming community, support our fellow instructors, support our students, give them content that we think is of value to them, and make them feel like there's something bigger that they're connected to. Because really, we are all connected to this. It's just whether you want to sort of pay attention to that and tap into it.
Right.
Even since we started the deck, I feel like I've made so many great new friends and made so many important connections, business connections even, not just friendship connections, for my career and my drumming. And it's just been the best.
It's inspiring.
It really is. Yeah, very.
Jeremy, that's it in a nutshell. That's so well said.
I think, like you said, I mean, we have so many new friends now, and this is not a small thing. Some people might see this as a little thing, but one of the coolest things is I got all these T-shirts now from all my different drummers friends, right? I got a Larry Rodbell shirt. Last night, Sharon Ransom sent me a T-shirt from the Ransom Drumming Lab, and that's cool because you're wearing somebody else's T-shirt. Who's this guy? Oh, this guy on the East Coast. Who's the Ransom Drumming Lab? Oh, this girl up in Canada that runs a drum school. I mean, that's so cool. It is now a community thing, and all of these people that are watching now hear about this camp that you have going on up in Northern California and might want to get involved with it, whether it be through a teaching level or performance level, or, hey, I'm going to take a vacation and do something new, to challenge themselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm still really enjoying the positive aspect of seeing people on stage for the first time in their life doing little. I mean, they had the dance moves.
Yeah, yeah,
and they were
yeah.
doing the whole,
Yeah.
the choreography and the interaction is really good. A good example of that.
That was actually one of my questions. Who is somebody there that teaches the choreography and teaches
So
that stuff?
there's a guy who's a vocalist in the Bay Area. He's a gospel and R&B singer named Brian Dyer. Amazing, amazing singer. I play in a band with him on occasion. And he's up there as an instructor too. And he teaches a gospel chorus and he teaches a circle singing thing. And he works as an assistant in the Motown band to work with the vocalists. So the rock band, I didn't have that luxury. So I dealt with them, which is why they weren't as good as together as, with the choreography and stuff. But he worked on them with the choreography.
That was
Jeremy,
great.
could
man.
you tell us a little bit more about the inner workings to put an event like that together? Like, do they rent the facility, and then how? Is it a week long? What's the cost?
Yeah, so
what's involved?
I'll speak about more just broadly, because I know about several different kinds of camps that are run around Northern California, and then we'll talk about Bandworks too. So most of these camps for the summer are 1 week long. Some of them are 2 weeks long. And they have ones that are just dedicated for kids, and they have ones that are just dedicated for adults, and then they have ones that are family camp where kids and adults are both going to the same camp at the same time. Typically the organization is usually a nonprofit that runs the camp and rents some facility that, has all the, resources for a camp to go. So they've got electricity, they've got the dining hall, they've got all these class spaces, and they have a performance venue.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. Infrastructure to support this. And those places are there, and then they just rent out to different summer camps all summer long. The one in Cazadero is a little bit different. That land up there is actually owned by the city of Berkeley, and they lease it to this nonprofit that runs these music programs all summer long, mostly for younger kids or middle school and high school. And then the family camp, that's the part that I'm involved with. Our organization rents that space from the nonprofit for 2 weeks.
How did you go about getting involved in that, Jeremy, as an educator? How did that come about for you?
When I first moved out here I went to summer camp as a kid, but never went to music camp. I just did, like, in the East Coast, your parents would send you away for 2 months at a time and, do sports and all that stuff. And when I moved out here, I think I was the second year I was here, I was 26. I moved out here in 92, and it was 96 that I saw an ad in the paper for looking for musicians and music teachers to be part of this performing arts camp. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And I answered an ad in the paper, and I met with the woman who's running the program. And she's like, you're going to be with me at this program, because she loved my energy and what I was wanting to bring to the table. And then, the next year, when I came back from the first summer, I was like, oh my God, this was an incredible experience. I told all my music teacher friends about it. I was like, you guys got to come up here. So then they started, they inquired, and then they started coming up. And then 3 years later, the director of the camp stepped down, and I ended up taking it over. So I actually ran that camp for 3 years, and hired a bunch of staff. And then after that, stepped back and just went back to being a staff member. But yeah, the first way I got involved was just answering an ad in the paper for that.
That's fantastic. And you've been involved with it every year since then?
Every single year since 96.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, you can see, man, it's so much fun. It's nothing but a good time up there. Nothing but a good time. Everybody.
It's got to be so rewarding.
It's so rewarding. And I there have been times where I thought, oh, am I going to do it again? It's been so many times. It's kind of the same old. And then I go, and it's completely different every time. And I work with different people, and I have different experiences. And as a teacher, it's so fulfilling to help people have these amazing, uplifting experiences. And some people, I've got some private students now who started playing drums from my little class at the camp, and now they're playing in bands, like semi-professionally, so wow. You never know what kind of impact that can have on people.
Do you see the same people like over and over again there?
A lot. There's a little bit of turnover around the edges, but a lot of the same people come every year because, their families have been going there and their kids growing up there. And so, yeah, a lot of the same folks.
That's great.
Hey,
what are the costs for a camp like that, Jeremy?
I don't remember, I haven't looked at that for a long time, but like, I think for a family of 4, it's not cheap because you get all these classes and programming. There's concerts at night too, like the staff performs, and there's a dance where you like, that's sort of like a karaoke thing where campers can sign up to sing with the pro band, be a guest singer or a guest guitar player. And there's all sorts of other events that happen during the week. I think for a family of 4, it's like $3,000 for the week, something like that, $2,000. I don't remember.
Okay. How many
that's
instructors
pretty
are
good.
there
I
on
mean,
staff?
There's about like 40 instructors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Jeremy,
Yeah.
can you tell us about the BandWorks?
Yeah. So BandWorks is really, Casadero's got a really special place in my heart. As I mentioned, I met my wife up there, but BandWorks has been my baby. BandWorks is a program that I started myself with my friend Steve Gibson, who's a guitar teacher here in the Bay Area, great guitarist. And I was a kid. I was 23 when we first started BandWorks, and he was, I think, 26. And we were playing in a band together, and we were both teaching privately. I was teaching drums, he was teaching guitar lessons. And we were hanging out after rehearsal one night. We were talking about how hard it was for our students to find other people to play with. And remember, this is 1993. That's before the internet. So the only way you found a band if you were an amateur musician was by looking in the classifieds, guitar player seeking drummer.
I remember the classifieds, absolutely.
Yeah, band seeking drummer. These are our influences. Or a flyer at the music store where you tore off one of the phone numbers, right?
Yeah.
And we were saying, man, it's just, we teach all these students, but it's so hard for them to find other people to play with. What if we started a program where we could sort of connect them together to play with, and you and I could both teach it together, and we could coach them through playing a bunch of songs, and then we could put on a little concert at the end. So from that conversation, I remember that vividly, because we stayed up till like 2 a.m, just so excited about the idea. And then we went and found a venue and, moved all the equipment in every week. We carted it in and carted it out for every rehearsal back in the early days. And, it was such a resounding success, and people had so much fun with it that it just grew like wildfire very quickly. And we went from one band for the first couple of sessions, for 2 months session, an 8-week class. And then we had 2 bands, then we had 4 bands, then 8, and now we have 40 bands every quarter.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Where can people find out about BandWorks if they're in the area?
Bandworks.com. It's one word, BANDWORKS, bandworks.com. And now, it started off as just an adult thing. It was a rock band workshops for adults, but then quickly we expanded to offer kids programs. We probably have out of 40 bands in a quarter, we probably have about 30 of those bands are kids and teens,
Okay.
and 10 of those bands are adults. And we expanded to offer summer camps. We do camps just for kids that are 1 week, discrete 1 week programs. It's not a sleepaway thing. It's just you come and you rehearse in a band for 3 hours, or if you do the full day at 6 hours. And we have all these different offerings. So you can you can do intro to rock band instruments, where you get to try out bass, drums, guitar, keyboards, and singing. And then you learn like Seven Nation Army or a couple of songs, and everybody switches around instruments and plays them, over and over.
Multiple instrumentalists.
Yep. Or you can, that's kind of like our gateway, class for just complete beginners who are not sure what they want to play, but maybe they want to try drums, maybe guitar. Right. And then we have just like a basic rock band camp where, the kids come and they pick a handful of songs, 5 or 6 songs that they want to work on for the week. We have like specific classes or camps designed around bands. So like we'll have a camp that's the music of Green Day, or the music of the Beatles, or the music of AC/DC. And it's all, mostly rock and roll and pop, or Jimi Hendrix. Or sometimes we'll do a genre class like heavy metal, so we'll get all the metal dudes in one class, just loving being together. We have a girls rock camp, so it's dedicated just, reserved for girls who want to play with other girls. And then we have a year-round program, and that's so the summer camps are every day, Monday through Friday, and then you put on a little sort of concert in the studio for your parents to come watch.
Cool.
But then the regular year-round program is 8 weeks, and that's once a week. And then the final concert is at a venue in Berkeley, a really big pro venue, and we go all out. Like I've got here a stack of these. We make these backstage passes for every show. where
That's
we
fantastic.
where we list the bands, that are playing and make it.
Oh,
And
Oh, cool.
everybody gets a pass and a lanyard, so they feel like they're rock and roll stars. And we even have one of the guys who runs our day-to-day operations now. He had this great idea a few years ago to start an awards show. So we have like a Grammys style awards show every year for all like the top achievers and best guitarist, best band, best original song, outstanding citizenship award for someone who like went over the top to really be kind to other musicians and helpful. And that's just been another way to acknowledge their achievements and keep them inspired and keep them going and having something to work for. Yeah. So if it's cool with you guys, I don't want to feel like this is too much self-promotion.
It is always
No.
cool with us.
no.
Go with it. Go with it.
I'm going to play a video that pretty much tells you guys what Bandworks is about. Now, some of you guys watching may be familiar with School of Rock. That's a program that's a franchise around the country now. And we were around before School of Rock, just for the record. And they did threaten to sue us at one point, but we told them where they.
No way, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they said they threatened to sue us because we had the word School of Rock in our name. It was Bandworks School of Rock, and then once they came around, they're like, "Oh no, we have a what do you call a registered trademark on that name," which they did, and so we dropped it out of the title, but it was not fun. Anyway,
Wow.
so this is Bandworks again. We started it in 1993, and it's grown from one band to now 40 bands every quarter. And from no summer camps, and now we see about 600 kids every summer in all our different summer programs at various locations. Let's see. Oops. Hold on.
Froze.
Hold on one second.
You're thinking of like a class, but it's more than a class. It's a band. You're joining a band. It's also about kids, growing up, about learning self-respect, gaining self-confidence, learning how to work with others toward a common goal.
It was pretty life-changing, actually. He was hooked. It was sweet. He found his instrument. He found his passion.
So I think what music does for a lot of the kids here.
I don't know why it keeps turning green.
Just learning a tune.
Yeah.
I would even say by the end of a session, they're walking taller. You can see the confidence.
I don't know why it keeps turning green, you guys. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, but we can hear it. So if we're listening to this on a podcast, we can keep rolling if you want.
Bandworks just makes the whole process a lot easier.
They match up kids by.
All right, I'm sorry. This is driving me crazy. I got to refresh it.
That's okay.
All good.
One of the things that guy mentioned was confidence. He
Yep.
he talked about how it focused.
All right, here we go.
When they sign up for Bandworks, they're thinking of like a class, but it's more than a class. It's a band. You're joining a band. It's also about kids, growing up, about learning self-respect, gaining self-confidence, learning how to work with others toward a common goal.
It was pretty life-changing, actually. He was hooked. It was sweet. He found his instrument. He found his passion.
So I think what music does for a lot of the kids here is more than just learning a tune. But I would even say by the end of a session, they're walking taller. You can see the confidence. Bandworks just makes the whole process a lot easier.
They match up kids by the type of music they like and their skill level and what instrument they play.
It's all the structural things that really bog bands down, even professional bands. Like the details of having a teacher, having a set rehearsal time, having a set of music picked out for you to work on. It just like really makes it happen.
You're playing the songs you like, and it's a really fun experience.
And it's different from how music lessons typically work.
Band teachers are like really fun. They know all the instruments.
I had no idea that I was going to have so much fun teaching groups of people. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Building confidence.
Hey, listen to your microphone. That's beautiful. Just take ownership of that and push it through the mic, push it out these speakers, and it's going to sound good.
They want to figure out who's better than them and like who has more experience. But then over the course of a couple weeks, that turns out not to matter.
I like that.
Musically, it gives you the confidence to play with other people and not feel like you've got to be a virtuoso.
A lot of what bandwork focuses on is making sure that the people are playing as a band.
Musically, they have to be a team. They have to be compatible. They have to watch and listen, and they have to really follow each other to be able to make sure that they can come together in a harmonious way. That's almost as important a skill as knowing where stuff is on your instrument.
You're understanding music and kind of forming more of a family with your band.
It doesn't really hit home until they hit the stage.
When I do a concert, I get scared. Except when I go up, and then it's fun. It happens every time I get scared, then it's fun.
We were shaking
Yeah.
for our first performance, and you were like, guys, relax. I mean, it's really, really easy. Little nerve-wracking at first. Of course, we're a lot more comfortable than we were when we first started. All of us. Yeah, all of us.
As you get through it, you realize that it's about having fun, it's about learning, and, you know, being able to work in a group situation, because it's a team sport.
People in the audience just screamed, and they were so excited, and I just felt so great.
Seeing him up on stage and seeing him really coming into his own and so happy up there performing and feeling so inspired, because I hadn't seen him be inspired by anything until that point.
My son just loves it. I stay in touch with everyone I've been in a band with too.
And the rewards just in playing with others and camaraderie and learning that you could really do something that you didn't realize you could do are so huge.
With a little bit of help, any group, you know, can play music. Anybody can do bandworks. Anybody can play music and have a blast. It's cool. Bandworks is cool. Bandworks is super cool. I wish Bandworks was around when I was in generation. Oh my god, I would have been such a better musician.
You would have found the groove to it.
Well done, Jeremy.
Jeremy,
Hey, man. Can I
we're
say
so proud of
something?
you, Jeremy, man. Amazing.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that when I saw in that video, we heard the words fun,
Yeah.
experience, confidence, again with the confidence, teamwork. This is life stuff, guys. This is like real cool life stuff, guys. And it's like adulting. Adulting is hard. It's hard to learn. It's hard to learn some of that stuff, and you can't just give it away. It's got to be earned. And I love that lesson that that video shows me is about your camps. That's very cool.
Yeah,
I agree, man.
Building culture and community, and our arts and our music are the foundation in this world. So what you're doing is so important, and making that much of a difference, is just very, very profound, man. So congratulations to you and your staff for doing that. And it sounds like really you guys are the inventors of this concept. And
well, I thank you for saying that, Rick. But I just want to say that you guys are doing the same thing. You may not have a big program with all these bands or everything. You may just be teaching private lessons, but you're doing the same thing. You're teaching people to listen. You're teaching people to be part of something bigger. You're teaching them to better themselves. Be better than the day before. And most of our students end up finding other people to play with. Right? There's not a lot of solo drummers, so. I feel like we're all doing that really important work of making the arts, accessible to people and enriching their lives.
I want to say this. I want to second everything that Rick and Chip said, and I got to say this. I think that the thing that you really have hit the nail on the head there, Jeremy, is with the group thing is just that it's not about me, hey, look at me play my instrument, look at me play my guitar, listen to me sing. It's more about the greater sum of the whole. We listen to what we're doing. That one girl, the clip went by really fast, but she was like, all of us, it was a group thing. It wasn't about, my personal stance on the music. It was this group thing, that how we are working together to make that happen. And I think that is something that so many musicians need to learn, that it's not about me and the way that I do it. It's the way that the team does it. And you've done an outstanding job with that, Jeremy. You've done an outstanding job with that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that.
It's interesting and a good observation you make there, Bart. One thing you guys might find interesting is that in the beginning, you saw the guy Steve, the guy I was sitting next to. He's the guy I started it with. He's probably one of my best friends, and we've played in maybe 8 bands together over the course of all these years. We still play in 3 bands now together. And when we first expanded the program to be beyond just me and him teaching the classes, that was like a big turning point where we were really nervous about, could we keep the culture and the vibe of what we wanted without being in the room, with having other teachers do it. Right. And at the beginning, we were thinking, we have to have these really, expert guitar players, really hotshot drummers to be our instructors who knew the music and the nuts and bolts cold. But it turned out that not all the best players were the best at this gig at all. Yes. And what we discovered was that the people who were the most successful bandworks teachers were the ones who had experience working with kids, working with groups, people who had coached Little League and soccer, but who also had musical, experience and musical skills. But it turned out that, being able to work with a group and motivate them and teach them that what you're just talking about, Bart, about
leadership.
About playing together and sort of, it's not about being, who can play the fastest or who's the most technically skilled or some pecking at it. It's not a competitive, like someone said, it's not a competitive sport. And
I'm thinking as a drum teacher, you're thinking that's a leadership skill to teach a group of people. Must require some leadership experience.
Right, for the teachers. Right, that's right. Yeah, more so than how many scales and play.
I heard one thing too that I think it was a bass teacher, judging by the amp in the background, he was saying that, certain things had to be taught that were, like, okay, showing up to rehearsal on time and showing up, knowing your parts and having, I think he said a set list or a song list put together and know your parts. I think that was so very well said, because as you progress in a, if you have a career in music or you progress further along with a band, there's going to be things like that. You got to show up to rehearsal on time, and you got to show up to the gig on time, and all those things. And the fact that you guys touch on that is, I've said this so many times before, it's taken for granted that you can play your instrument,
right?
But can you do all the other stuff? That's the part that, can you just get along with the people in the band? That's the part that's,
Right.
Do we have time? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
It's just about getting everyone to buy in to this. We're all in this together concept.
Yeah,
it's not about, I'm going to take a class and hope that this band is, a good vehicle for me. It's more like, no, I'm going to join a band, and I'm going to, meet. I'm going to build my community. Just like we were talking about earlier, right? I'm going to, and that's one of the greatest things about this program. It's not just about the bands and the performances. It's about the friendships and the long-lasting musical relationships and friendships that have come out of this for so many people. It's a community. It's a strong, thriving community, and that's, to me, the legacy of what this is. Is the best part.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Jeremy, this is the stuff that's going to save humanity by bringing everybody together. I swear. We really need it. I like that the one mom mentioned that at first all of the students are sizing each other up to see where they all fit. And then after a couple weeks, it doesn't matter. That's the life lesson. That's the ultimate life lesson.
Yes.
Think about that if you bring that to a corporate level.
Right.
I mean, bandwork should be out there teaching executives, having executives and decision makers. I think the politicians should start a band. That would totally work.
They pass a lot more legislation, right?
I am not a trombone player.
But you could be, and that would be okay.
You could be.
Hey guys, Jim Royal's watching. Hi, Jim Royal.
Oh.
Hello, Jim Royal.
He says our studio is all about family and a safe community. It changes lives.
So Jim Royal, for those of you who don't know, he runs a drum studio over in Connecticut, and Jim, as far as I'm concerned, basically does just what I do over there. He's got his own thriving community-based music program with steel drum bands and drum set and percussion and marimba, mallets, and it's the same exact idea, like building a culture, building a community, and making people feel like they belong. And it's not about competition. I mean, there may be, it's not to say that there's not bands that are better.
Well, yeah, there's a sense of competition in anything.
Yeah, and there's a normal level of healthy sort of like respect for the bands that are better and the kids that want to get into those bands. And that's great. You have something to strive for. You see the groups that are ahead of you, and maybe it's that you want to get into that band, or maybe you want your band to be able to be like that band and play original music, or win one of those awards that we give out at the end of the year. And I think that's so important for creating the culture of buy-in. That people see like, wow, this is really cool, and I see where we fit in the whatever pecking order. And so that to me is a healthy kind of competition. But there's never any kind of putting down or I'm better than you attitude. That we foster a culture of inclusion and support and enthusiasm, and I think that spreads through all the bands.
That's great.
Because in the end, you don't win anything. You may get an award, but that's just for fun. I mean,
well, that's the trophy. You're once you get the trophy, are you going to stop? No, you want to just. That's part of what we talked about before. I forget which episode it was, but somebody brought up surfing and the state of being that you get when you're out on the board. And it's not about really winning the trophy. It's about the experience, like your students even mentioned. Go ahead, Rick. I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
Oh, no worries, Chip. Well, I would just like to recommend to any drummer to try to get involved with a camp like this, or start participating in drum clinics and drum workshops. You know, a lot of times I've mentioned to new students, like, say, hey, there's a drum clinic, and they don't know what a drum clinic is.
Yes.
And I think that's something that we should explain, like drum workshops and drum
Let's
clinics.
explain that. Explain the difference, Jeremy. What's the difference between a drum camp, a clinic, and a band camp?
So we do clinics also. That's kind of a separate thing. And what clinics are, and that's just sort of like a bonus to our community. Sometimes, like, I'll do a clinic on, you know, whatever famous grooves, you know, or drum tuning, or we'll have someone come in and do a clinic on rock and roll bass playing. And that's when we have one sort of instructor who is talking the whole time, and there's an audience of people who are really just listening. They're not playing per se. Although we have had some clinics where people will come up and, you know, volunteers will, hey, we come play this drum beat kind of thing. And that's really just like, you're there to just experience what this professional teacher has to offer, and, you know, see what you can pick up from a couple of hours of their talking about whatever topic they're talking about. And it can be real general, it can be real specific. The camp that we do is all about participating. So that's when it's really just about playing the music, you know, putting the set together, you know, putting on a show, that arc of each, you know, from first day to last performance. And most of our bands, you know, we have probably like a 70 to 75% return rate. So in other words, once someone's in the program, they like it so much, and the band, if it's good chemistry, they like 75% of the time they're coming back.
Right on.
And then what was the other thing? The drum camp?
There's master classes and workshops.
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes I know, like, sometimes those differences are semantic. Like, I've been to clinics that were master classes and master classes that really were clinics, but
yeah, you're kind of splitting hairs sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a whole bunch of drum clinics that were great, and mostly the drummer would get up there and just talk for an hour and a half and talk about their technique, or maybe they tell stories about being on the road or the famous recordings they played on. And then sometimes they bring out a group at the end that they play along with, or play along with some tracks. And then other times it was really about, like, that same person might be there, but bringing up students to play and then critiquing them in front of everybody else. So sort of like a participation thing where everybody learned from what everybody else was playing, all the other students. Right. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the camps that in band works, I mean, we have the clinics that are sort of one-offs every now and again, but the main part of what we offer is a participatory 8-week program that runs all year, and then the 1-week summer camp that you get to actually play music in the whole time.
That's fantastic. Do you feel that when you host a clinic, like you say, you have somebody come in that's played on a bunch of recordings or tours or whatever, do you feel that those are motivational to most people, and it kind of springs them into a new area of drumming or learning?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think of those clinics as sort of like add-on extra educational stuff, you know, so you're playing your songs, you're playing with your band, maybe you've been together for 6 months or 6 years, and you're also taking lessons with your private guitar teacher or your private drum teacher. And, you know, maybe there's a topic that you've never really had the time or bandwidth to get into, like guitar effects pedals. And so we have a guitar player come in and teach a clinic on guitar effects pedals. And then like, oh man, that's been the missing piece of my sound for a long time. And now I get how the sequencing works, blah, blah, blah. Or it could be, you know, like I did a clinic on drum tuning, and which everyone who was there desperately needed it. Right.
You know what? Can I interject on that? I do a clinic. I've done an in-person clinic, and I've done an online clinic called a Tech and Tune. And it's just that. It's how to tweak in your drum set and how to tune it and put it together. And when I first did it, I was like, well, it is what it is. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but honestly, it's one of the most popular ones. I've had a few people since I've done the last one, when are you going to do another one of those Tech and Tunes? Because I wasn't able to make it, or I would like to do that again because I'm having trouble with this new snare drum I've got.
Right.
And once we get into the new house and the studio setup, I'm going to host another one online. If you play guitar, Yeah, yeah. If you play guitar, the first thing you do in every lesson is you tune the guitar. But
Mhm.
people don't do that so much with drums. So yeah, a tuning clinic, outstanding. I love that, Jeremy. Love that. I just had to interject that.
Sure, yeah, that's great. That I mean, it's so easy for things to go by that you don't have awareness of, and
Right.
you're going to learn something different from everyone, and maybe you're in the BandWorks program with the same teacher who's been coaching your band, and we like to think of our teachers as coaches, because they really have that kind of relationship with their bands.
Coaches, I like that.
And you go through and you're in that program and you're doing the thing every session and you're playing your tunes and the band's getting tighter and tighter, but you've never really sort of taken the leap with your soloing or with with your fills. So wouldn't it be great to take a drum clinic just talking about fills? That might open up some new concepts for you that you can then apply in your band.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, there's so many different drum clinics and workshops and music camps out there. I think one of the problems is that people have is just finding them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just really would like to welcome the DEC community, that if you hear about somebody giving a drum clinic or a workshop, just to post it, let it be known. They're happening all over the world and they're online. And that's what's so amazing now is that we can get some of this educational resource just online without even leaving your home.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so anybody, if you know about one or you hear about one, I always get this from my students. Hey, have you heard about any clinics? And
and think about how fortunate we are in this day and age to be able to turn on our computer and dial into, for example, Stanton Moore talking about New Orleans second line grooves. And you can just open up your computer and gain all that wisdom and knowledge from one of the guys who does it the best in the world.
Right.
Where back in the day, you would have had to go to New Orleans, go to the gig, listen. Maybe if you're lucky, you could get a private lesson or something. Yeah. But now all this content is available so easily for us. And, there's no shortage of it. I mean, there's so many experts in so many different aspects of drumming that there's, every time I watch a clinic, I learn something every single time.
Oh, yes.
Every time.
Very much.
Because we have been anointed with this technology.
That's right.
That's Chip's catchphrases. Yeah.
On that note, we are over an hour.
Hey guys,
we don't really watch the.
I'm sorry, Bart.
Go ahead.
Jim Royal said motivation, inspiration, education, and improvisation.
There you go, man. There you go. Finding the Groove. Jeremy Steinkoller's book. This book is a book for lessons on life. It is definitely a self-help book. It is a fantastic book. Everybody, please check out Finding the Groove. I've read through it. Jeremy has sent out some copies. I haven't got my new one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to read it again. And Jeremy, when you send it out, I hope you autographed it for me.
I sure did.
Did you? Awesome. Great. Awesome.
I put a little dedication to each of you guys in there.
Oh man, that's so
Thank
cool.
you, man. Thank you.
That's precious.
Thank you. Well, I'm looking forward to getting that. And to everybody that tunes in every week, thank you guys so much for doing that and putting your comments in. We always look forward to this show and watching us on YouTube. Please help us spread the word, because that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to help the drumming community with our little dog and pony show. And I got to say, my hat's off to Jeremy Steinkoller once again for not only writing a fantastic book, but for everything that you do with BandWorks and all these camps and everything that you do. Just way to go, bringing a sense of musicianship together. A sense of teamwork and camaraderie. That's just fantastic. Way to go.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you. Thanks also to Rick Stojak and Chip Ritter, two great, amazing drummers. Check out their stuff. Next week, what's on deck next week on the 24th? Who's coming on?
Next week, we have a very good friend of mine who's an amazing drummer. His name is John Mader. And awesome. John plays in Hamilton, in the Pit Orchestra in Hamilton. And he's been on tour with John Fogerty, Sly and the Family Stone, some other big names.
Benatar.
Yeah, right. Bonnie Raitt. He's heavy hitter. So, and just the nicest guy. So we're looking forward to having him next week.
Cannot wait to meet him. So next week, John Mater, that is fantastic. Until then, everybody have a fantastic week. Go pick up a pair of sticks and start practicing, or a guitar, or a trombone. Or you can play trombone. It's okay. Sorry, trombone players are the fun of our joke today. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Thanks,
we'll
everyone.
see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.